8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Indrani Senanayake. The headlines. The government is focusing on encouraging the young generation of the country to engage in agriculture. Plans are underway to implement the homestay concept to attract 5 million tourists next year. A new bill should be prepared to overcome the issues faced by the indigenous community. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the South China Sea Buddhism Shenzhen Roundtable will further strengthen the historical relationship between China and Sri Lanka. A landslide early warning message is issued to several districts of the island. In foreign news, UN Security Council envoys are to visit Rafah crossing. In sports news, Under-19 Asia Cup, UAE beats Sri Lanka. Minister Mahinda Amarweera said that the government is taking action to encourage the young generation of the country to engage in agriculture. The minister further appreciated the President and the Ministry of Finance for the provision of compensation for the damaged crops within a very short period of 2 months. Minister Amarweera made these remarks at a press conference held at the Presidential Secretariat today. He further said that an outstanding progress can be observed in the programs implemented by the ministry. A new program will be launched in 2024 to improve the coffee plantation in the island. The government intends to develop the infrastructure facilities, including the accommodation facilities, in line with executing plans to attract 5 million tourists next year. The Consultative Oversight Committee on National Economy and Physical Plans attended to this matter under the guidance of MP Mahindananda Alutgambage recently. The officials informed the committee that plans are underway to implement the homestay concept to attract more tourists. The public should be ready to welcome the tourists. Programs are being carried out to train tour guides. The committee further stressed the significance of promoting the local tourist attraction destinations. A special committee has been appointed by Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa to provide solutions to the issues faced by the indigenous community of the island. The committee has prepared a report in this regard. A special discussion in this matter was held at Parliament today. The chief of the indigenous community, Uruwarge Wanyalayattu, also took part in this discussion. 15 institutions have taken part in preparation of the report. Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa stressed that permanent solutions should be sought for the issues at hand. A new bill should be prepared to overcome these issues. Recommendations should be made regarding the livelihood of the indigenous community as well. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Enjoy interest-free installments on your shopping. Get a People's Credit Card from your nearest People's Bank today. Conditions apply.
We continue with local news. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the South China Sea Buddhism Shenzhen Roundtable will further strengthen the historical relationship in Buddhism between China and Sri Lanka. The minister expressed these views while joining the press conference held at the Temple Trees this afternoon to inform the media about this conference. It has been clearly stated in the records of the monk Fahian that China has maintained relations with Sri Lanka since the distant past. The minister mentioned that such programs will be very important to spread Buddhism the world over. Arrangements have been made to hold this conference on Tuesday and Wednesday at the Temple Trees and the BMICH. About 5,000 delegates from 37 countries around the world will participate in this conference. The minister added that the government warmly welcomes this group with great respect and expressed his gratitude for holding such a significant international conference in this country. The National Building Research Office has issued a landslide early warning message to several districts of the island. Level 2. Amber alerts have been issued to Halialla in the Badulla district, Ingeriya in the Kalutara district, Yatinuwara, Tumpane and Pasbage Korale in the Kandy district, and Balangoda and Imbalpe in the Ratnapura district. Level 1. Yellow warnings have been issued to Passara, Alla and the surrounding areas in the Badula district, while Alabita and Horana in the Kalutara district, Madadumbara and surrounding areas in the Kandy district, Galigamo and the Hiovita in the Kagala district, Ridigama, Mavatagama and Polgahabela in the Kurunagada district, Laggala and surrounding areas in the Matale district, Paskoda and Kotopola in the Matara district are also under level 1 warnings. Abagamua, Hangaranketa and Wallapene in the Nualeri district and Ratnapura and surrounding areas in the Ratnapura district have been given level 1 warnings as well. This will be valid till 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. That ends the local segment of news.
Light up your life, light up your smile. This December, yeah. People's discounts coming your way. All over the place. December, yeah.
Enjoy special offers all over the place with People's Credit Cards this December, with discounts of up to 75% at selected merchants. Enjoy interest-free installments on your shopping. Get a People's Credit Card from your nearest People's Bank today. Conditions apply.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Minister Manusha Nadiakara said that the working group meeting of the Colombo Plan will begin tomorrow, focusing on the development of the rights of migrant workers, the development of opportunities in the international labour market, and bringing the remittances of the foreign workers into the country through proper methods. The minister mentioned this at a press conference held today regarding the working group meetings of the Colombo Plan, which will start tomorrow under the leadership of Sri Lanka. All arrangements have been made to hold working group meetings from tomorrow to the 14th in Colombo. Accordingly, these meetings will be held under 3 areas, namely skill and qualification identification, cost-effective, fast and secure remittance transfer, and fair and ethical recruitment practices, respectively chaired by the governments of Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Bangladesh. That ends the local segment of news.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
This is Watchlight.
According to the latest statistics released by the National Dengue Control Unit, the total dengue cases reported in Sri Lanka so far this year surpassed 80,000. The NDCU said that 80,192 cases have been reported as of yesterday, and 3,704 of them have been reported in December alone. According to the statistics, 47 people have succumbed to the disease. The Western Province remains the most affected, with 46.4% cases reported. That was Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines: UN Security Council envoys are to visit Rafah crossing. Hamas threatens hostages as PM Netanyahu says the group's end is near. Australia plans to halve immigration intake. UN Security Council envoys have arrived in Egypt to inspect the Rafah border crossing in Gaza amid the worsening crisis in the besieged enclave. The day-long visit, organized by the UAE and Egypt, involves about a dozen ambassadors, including those from Russia and the UK. The US and France did not send any representatives. UAE's ambassador to the UN asserted the countries participating were doing so in their national and personal capacities, and the trip was aimed to help understand not only the suffering and destruction experienced by the people of Gaza, but also their hope and their strength. Hamas has threatened that not a single hostage will be allowed to leave Gaza alive unless its demands for a prisoner exchange are met. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says dozens of Hamas militants have surrendered, and he described the situation as the beginning of the end for the group. Israel has ordered civilians to flee the center of Khan Yunis, with an official saying he doesn't want civilians caught up in the difficult fighting there. Key mediator Qatar says the chances of a new ceasefire between Israel and Hamas are narrowing, but has vowed to keep up the pressure on both sides. Hamas attacked Israel 9 weeks ago, killing 1,200 people and taking 240 hostages. The Australian government says it will halve the migration intake within 2 years in an attempt to fix the country's broken immigration system. It aims to slash the annual intake to 250,000, roughly in line with pre-pandemic levels by June 2025. Visa rules for international students and low-skilled workers will also be tightened under the new plan. Migration has climbed to record levels in Australia, adding pressure to housing and infrastructure woes. Unveiling a new 10-year immigration strategy at the media briefing on Monday, Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill said the migration system had been left in tatters by the previous government. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. UN Security Council envoys are to visit Rafah crossing. Hamas threatens hostages as PM Netanyahu says the group's end is near. Australia plans to halve immigration intake, and that ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
The Sri Lankan tourism sector has witnessed a remarkable growth in the 11 months of 2023, with cumulative tourist arrivals reaching 1.27 million, generating a revenue of $1.8 billion. Latest data from the central bank reveals a substantial 78.3% increase in income generated by tourism from January to November 2023 compared to the same period in 2022. The data highlights a notable surge in revenue earned from tourism in November 2023, amounting to $205.3 million, more than doubling the figures from November 2022. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri expressed optimism about a surge in tourist arrivals in 2024 while addressing the Parliament, attributing the rise in tourism to the introduction of more airlines into the country.
Moving on with sports news.
The seventh match of the Under-19 Asia Cup tournament was held between Sri Lanka and the UAE in Dubai. The UAE team won the toss and chose to field first. Accordingly, Sri Lanka scored 219 runs for 9 wickets at the end of 50 overs. The UAE team scored 224 runs for 8 wickets at the end of 48.2 overs. Tanish Suri scored 75 runs, and that was sports news.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Air Arabia launched a new route connecting Abu Dhabi and Colombo on December the 8th, and now will fly direct between Abu Dhabi and Colombo every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. Launching Air Arabia's new route to Sri Lanka, the first flight from Abu Dhabi to Colombo was welcomed by celebratory water cannon salutes upon arrival and Ceylon tea gift packs by the Sri Lanka Tea Board. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekatiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
The Director General of the State Enterprises Restructuring Unit, Suresh Shah, said the deadline to submit expressions of interest for Sri Lanka Telecom and Sri Lankan Airlines have been extended on investor requests. The date to express interest for Sri Lanka Telecom was extended to the 12th of January 2024 from the 18th of December, while the date for Sri Lankan Airlines was extended to the 9th of January 2024 from the 5th of December. That was economic news.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers will occur at times in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the areas of the island after 1 p.m. Fairly heavy showers of about 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the central, Sabaragamu and western provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamu, central, southern and Uva provinces during the morning hours. To end tonight's news broadcast, the headlines again. The government is focusing on encouraging the young generation of the country to engage in agriculture. Plans are underway to implement the homestay concept to attract 5 million tourists next year. A new bill should be prepared to overcome the issues faced by the indigenous community. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the South China Sea Buddhism Shenzhen Roundtable will further strengthen the historical relationship between China and Sri Lanka. A landslide early warning message is issued to several districts of the island. In foreign news, UN Security Council envoys are to visit Rafah crossing. In sports news, Under-19 Asia Cup, UAE beats Sri Lanka.